We are live. Right.
Yes. Every time I'm always so surprised it worked. I'm like, look, here we are. We're live.
Happens instantly. It's great. Good to see you again.
You too. You too. I can't believe here we are on a short week.
Yeah, much like the garbage collection, our typical Tuesday has been pushed back a day due to the holiday. So we're streaming on a Wednesday, which is fine by me. I'm sure everybody out there is getting caught up. So this is great. Welcome to Try New Tech with your host, Shannon J. Gregg, and I'm Jason Anthony, where each week we dive into the latest, coolest tech, SaaS, AI products to help you stay ahead of the curve. Like Shannon says all the time, it's like unboxing videos for grown-ups. So we're super excited, and I got a quick question for you, Shannon.
Okay, I'm ready. I hope this gives me a little clue.
Two-part question, I guess. First, have you
Okay.
ever written a blog before?
I have indeed.
Okay, and approximately how long do you think it'd take you to write an average blog?
I mean, it takes a while because you have to think of it, you have to write it, you have to edit it, you have to read it again. I don't think I could write a blog in less than 3 hours, and that's if I'm really prepared with the topic in my
with
own brain.
with some experience. Yeah, correct. So there was a recent survey. Over 600 people were asked, and on average, they found that it takes most bloggers about 5 to 6 hours to
I
write.
totally believe that.
I can't do, and then that's not even including you have to source images and do all that stuff. So
Right.
historically on the show, we've been doing a lot of cool, creative things, food, song, right, art, and stuff like that, which is awesome. Today, I think I'd spin it a little bit, and we'll dive into AI content detection. So
Ooh.
essentially, I got the idea here because you and I as well, we probably use ChatGPT or Claude or some variation to spin up content, right? It's just so easy. And think about how many people out there even listening right now, go straight to GPT, write me an article, which is great. But
Sure.
on the other side of that coin, how many people are out there just copy and pasting the output, right, into their blogs or onto their website? Which presents a pretty big problem. As you know, we run SEO for a number of clients all over the world, and Google's actually starting to penalize GPT or AI generated content. So it needs to be human written, but how do you go about that? So we've got a cool new tool today to show you just how to do that. So I'll take over and present, and we can go from there.
That's awesome. I'm so excited about this because I do think generative AI is really exciting if you need help with a prompt to think about how to categorize something or frame it. But people who just lift up what has been spit out and then post that as their own content, I think are doing themselves a disservice and certainly not engaging their readers because humans, we can most of the time detect if something has not had your years of experience or your lens integrated into the ultimate output.
Correct. It's getting a lot of people into trouble, right? I think everybody's heard of, the lawyer, the attorney that
Yes.
used GPT, got an output, and then ended up getting disbarred or something crazy like that. I think it's important to know too. A lot of people might not realize that these AI outputs from GPT, Claude, and some of the other ones that are out there, they have digital watermarks that we can't see. Right now, obviously, if you use it as much as I do or as much as you do, I can tell right out of the gate if your headline says "unlock the power of" or "unleash the." There's certain repetitive statements it tend to use. But other than that, there's little digital footprints essentially that are behind the scenes that Google can detect and other computers software can detect to show it as AI generated, and you might face some penalization. So let's just jump into it, and I'll show you a kind of a quick workflow that I put together here, and then the solution that I've been using, to go ahead and then detect the AI content, and then that way we can get it rewritten, humanize it really quickly, and then get it out there as quality, high valuable content, which I think is key, especially in the day of content publishing and just everything in general. So
Love
so here I've got a simple prompt into GPT. We can try Claude if we need to as well. Write a 200-word story about creating a new blog in WordPress, which is super simple. So if we copy this, there are a number of AI detection services out there. GPT-0 is one. Scribr uses another one. There's a ton of them. So, if we were to paste that text in and check the origin, we can see that this is 100% probably AI generated, which it is. Of course, we know that we've copied it, we've pasted it in, so we see it here. What's critical though too is that I've also input human written my own content from scratch, and it will also still get flagged as AI written. So it's not 100% perfect, but if there are certain phrases that are out there on any type of AI detection or plagiarism, they could get flagged too. So I think these resources are great. Here's another one here. We can paste the text in to this platform, analyze it. And again, this one comes in a little bit lower at 73. So you can see it's kind of arbitrary which platforms do which. So, the best case scenario that I found so far is a tool called Bypass AI. Now they have a free version that limits you on your word count. However, I've went ahead and I've been using this now for a few days just for my own work and some examples. So I've got the paid plan, which we can look at pricing in a minute. So if you paste it in here, we can now detect AI, and then if we need to humanize it, we can humanize it. But let's detect it first here. And right now we can see it's starting to analyze, but it's doing it across multiple AI detection platforms.
Oh, cool.
D0, copy leaks, writer, content at scale. So you can see that the output seems to be AI generated, which is great. So that's kind of the problem, right? We've got this, good outline. We need to make it our own, and we need to make it, humanized. So this is the beauty of this platform, is really you just hit the humanize button. Oh, you know what? I have to log into my other account. It looks like I'm not in the. Let's just cut this down then, for example purposes, to 100 words. Not logged into the paid one. So let's put under 100. Let's humanize it. It's going to analyze the text, spit it back out in some way or shape or form where it's written, and then run it back through the AI intelligence detection, and then say, here we go. Our output seems to be human written. It's passed all these checks from these various different platforms. Now the next step would be to copy this and then tweak and refine it as your own, right? It's not going to get it. It's still generated essentially by AI. It's not going to be perfect, but now we have a starting point that we can kind of tweak and refine and make it our own. And then we can go ahead and publish it out and save all that time. So use cases, I mean, far and wide here, right?
This is great. It's funny, Jason, because we're here living in the future, and this is really exciting, but it's also reminding me of two things from the past. One, when I worked for a wonderful company called Invivo Data, we had to do backwards and forwards translation because we were, reaching for patient-reported outcomes. And so we would take something in English, have it translated, and then run it back through to make sure that we weren't accidentally creating words. And so this AI detection, let's have AI humanize itself and then run it back through to see what the detection is putting me back there, which may be why I'm triggered to tell you, when it gives you that percentage, I'm sitting here like holding my breath, waiting like I'm watching a Maury show, like, you are the father.
Exactly. You are AI. Let's do something about that, right? Yeah, the guy is like, it's not mine. Off the music, crowd's booing.
I love this. I love this. I think a lot of times what we're looking for, and you and I work a lot with sales and marketing professionals, and everybody's reaching to try to be authentic. And at the same time, they're looking for productivity hacks and ways that they can cut down on the amount of time that they're spending doing these things. And I think this bypass AI detection tool is really cool because it will allow you to say, hey, guess what? If this is telling you this is 73% chance that it's, generated by, artificial intelligence, people are not going to read it as being authentically you. And that just flies in the face of what sales and marketing professionals are trying to do.
I agree, and it's so I think we're becoming more and more dependent on using it as a kind of a crutch too. It's like, hey, well, we can just run this through GPT or run this through Claude, and it gives us an output, and let's just run, let's just go. It's something. It still needs to have that human element, obviously, and your main goal, especially from a marketing or sales perspective, is to provide the most value as humanly possible, right, as you can when you're creating content. And there's just no way around it. It's going to have to be kind of scrubbed through, that human element. So I think this is pretty cool. I switched over to my paid account tonight. We have unlimited words. We can put the whole thing in here. You can see it. The output's even different. Now we've got step 1, step 2, maybe even step 2's missing again. So like, it's not perfect, but it's going to spit out the content in a way that's not going to be detected, and it's going to help you just kind of write that a little bit better. It's also doing some plagiarism checks for free as well too, I think, which is beneficial. And then we can go down and see, we're bypassing the watermarks that I mentioned earlier, right? It gives you a little bit of background on that. And then I think for me as an SEO and for my clients, who we're ranking out there, if they start, I advise every client right out of the gate, like, if we're not writing the content for you and you're writing on your own, do not copy and paste from GPT or any type of AI generated, and that's a bigger conversation too about what's the risk tolerance, right? If you are going to use GPT,
Right.
How risk avoidant are you, or how willing are you? How much are you willing to maybe sacrifice, your rankings and your traffic just for easy content or to keep something out there that's fresh? So that's kind of big. So I found this to be extremely helpful tool. Pricing wise, we can take a look at it. They've got monthly and yearly subscriptions. So, the basic, you can do the free plan. You can test out 100 words for yourself, see if you like it. Your basic plan is going to give you 3,000 words per month. But, honestly, if you're writing high quality articles, you're probably targeting between 900 and 2,000 words per article. So the basic's probably not going to cut it for you if you're on a content team or you're doing any writing yourself. I opted for the unlimited plan. It's about $70 a month, which may seem a little bit higher out there, but we've got unlimited words. And then, you can compare that to some of these other tiers. So I think even Pro at $20 a month is a pretty good value. If you're just sporadically, kicking it out there, you can save 50%, on that by subscribing to the annual, which is nice. So that's kind of a quick look. I just think it's a super cool way to kind of not only utilize these resources for content, but then scrub them and then get you kind of to a better output that's not going to get penalized, and also, get you creating stuff out there much faster.
I love this so much, and I could see where this would be so helpful for anybody who needs to put out written work. So marketers, obviously salespeople, anyone who's creating messaging at all. I know I teach at Point Park, and we actually have some policies around AI. And so I would encourage anybody who's using this to look at your organization's policies around particularly generative AI. But one of the things I love the most about this, Jason, is it is going through and saying, hey, here's how we're going to detect it. Here's how we're going to help you humanize it. And then you, as the human who carries the expertise for the blog that you're writing, is able to look at it and say, does this make sense? Is it still getting out what I want it to? And now if it's optimized for your use case.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great example. I'm going to run up. I guess my Claude is running at capacity, so not going to do that. I was just trying another one out here. Let's just say write another one with GPT.
This is something I love to do, is to give the same prompt to a few different tools and see what it spits out. I even like to play around with a Snapchat virtual assistant, because they all have different natural language processing capabilities that allow them to say, here's the tone that we're looking for, and here's what this person has prompted you with before. And so one of my favorite nerdy things to do is give the same prompt to different tools to see what it's going to return.
Yep. Another cool feature too, I forgot to mention here, is that you can actually kind of tweak your modes, and the modes are going to give you your rewrites based off of, how simple versus how advanced you want it. And then also the purpose too. So do we want it to be general, academic? We've got legal, story, marketing material, business material. So you'll get different variations of the output based off your needs, which I think is pretty cool too.
That is really cool. I love that. That is really cool. That's a cool feature. You know, when we're playing around with these features, sometimes we're so impressed by the output that we forget to look at the little navigation bars that give us our different choices. And so I'm glad that you just pointed that out.
Yep. So, I've been, kind of playing around with it. I found it to be extremely helpful. And then even as I'm writing stuff, I see myself, now more frequently going back to Bypass AI, copy pasting, even in small snippets as I go, just to double check, right? We're looking for plagiarism. We're looking for AI. Is it going to get flagged? So yeah, it's a super cool resource that I thought would be helpful for some people out there.
I love it. This was such a good one. Thank you for sharing this. And once again, I was surprised. I didn't know we were heading into this today, but I'm pleased to learn about this. This is going to be really helpful because, I think everybody's putting content out there, and it is really nice to be able to evaluate, do I sound stilted or not? So this is a really good tool. Thanks for bringing bypass.ai today, Jason.
Absolutely. You're welcome, Shannon. So anybody out there, don't forget to check us out on YouTube or like and repost here. Maybe you're doing your own content marketing or somebody on your team is. If you're seeing this live on LinkedIn, you can hit the repost, share that with them, make sure to tag them and spread the word. I think this is a pretty valuable tool.
For sure. So I think next week is my turn, and we are returning to our typical Tuesday 7:45, right?
Correct. Yeah. Do we get a teaser or is it a full blown surprise?
It's funny because you took it from our initial sort of 3 episodes were a little more fun, a little more social, and you took it to business this week. And I also am taking it to business next week. So
The shindig.
show it. Yes, our business shindig. Just moving along.
I love it. There's so many different options out there. Oh my, and even just like you mentioned, I'm using GPT, I'm using Claude, I've got Gemini, like I'm just kind of spread all over the place. So these little quick explainer videos are extremely helpful. So I'm looking forward to it. And obviously any productivity hack as well, time super valuable. So
totally agree. Before we sign off, Jason, tell the truth, admit, how many times did you listen to the song Believe by Cher in the past 8 days?
it's in my head. It's super funny too. I was flipping through, I think it was like Netflix or Prime or one of those like streaming shows. And it was a preview for The Land of the Lost, which was the Will Ferrell remake.
Yes.
And him and Danny McBride, and they go up and touch the glass and they have auto tune and they start singing Believe by Cher. I'm cracking up like, oh man, we were just talking about this the other day. So
we cannot escape Cher and her Bob Mackie dresses. We're just stuck in Cher, and there are worse places to be stuck.
We'll either have to get the rights to use it for the show,
I know,
or go back to our Udio episode and create a Cher type version of auto tune for us.
Okay, that is totally happening. And obviously we're gonna have to listen to it driving in a convertible in Florida. I think that's the only way to do it.
For sure. Awesome, Shannon. Well, sweet. As always, great to see you again, and do it again very soon.
All right. See you next week.
See ya.